The climate crisis has brought this world to a Kairos moment, an inflection point, a time when neither we collectively as humanity will go forth and boldly and try to clean up the mess we have made of this world, damage that we have done to all God's creatures, as well the damage that awaits us if we do not, or sit by passively by, do nothing, and allow this horrible things to happen to our children and our grandchildren. I'm going to share with you, though, something that this church has been doing for a long time, some things which some people may not be aware of, but this church does good things. It does good things in the community, and actually it's one of the many things that brought me to this church well over a decade ago. We do something that addresses both the issue of waste in the climate crisis on a small basis, as well as help children who across the world who otherwise would probably suffer lives of crime and poverty. Over a decade ago, the Ministry of Social Concerns, which I'm a member of, established a program where this church, through our joint recycling efforts, which you all contribute to, raise money so that we can support small children in other parts of the world. We currently support two children, a young girl at the Pringle School for Girls in Jamaica, and a young boy in El Salvador. If you know anything about Jamaica and El Salvador, other than what you see on the travel channels and a great place to go to the beaches and things of that nature, El Salvador was long involved for several decades in a horrible civil war, which basically destroyed the country, the economy, and severely damaged the society. 20 years later, it's still recovering from that. The crime rate is some of the highest in the nation. You probably read about the current president, that there are prisons in El Salvador where there are over 30,000 prisoners that are being imprisoned. It's a poverty-ridden country, a country that my wife's parents fled from several decades ago. But we're trying to do something about that. We have a young boy, in this case, Jose Lito Gomez, which we have been providing financial support through a couple of organizations that we partner with. So we collect cans. We ask that you, particularly during this season, think of, instead of tossing your CRV, your California Redemptive Value cans, beer cans, water cans, plastic bottles, in the trash can or even in your own recycling bin, we ask that you donate them to us here at the church. We have a bin in the fellowship hall where those can be placed. You're free to call me. Periodically, I provide my phone number and everything. Send me a text. I'll come to your home. I'll pick them up from you. We do some light processing of those. What I mean by that is up until very recently, surprisingly, most of us didn't know it, that the plastic screw-on tops for plastic bottles were not recyclable. So we have to remove those. Recently, through a lot of political and social pressure in this country, focused on soda companies and water companies and so forth, and so on, we're now beginning to see tops that are recyclable, and they'll say so right on the top. Anyway, we collect those when the bin is full, and we take those probably once or twice a month to the Tri-Said Recycling Center in Union City. The church has an account with them, and on a monthly basis, they remit to us the value of the cans and bottles that we take in. We've been quite fortunate with your support of our friends in the community, my neighbors, for example, who know what I'm doing when they see me out there in their trash cans on Thursday morning collecting the bottles and ask what I'm doing. And I freely tell them, we have a program at our church where we're supporting small children and in certain parts of the world. And usually they encourage me to continue to collect those cans from their garbage cans or blue garbage cans, or even volunteer to set those aside for me in a box or a plastic bag, which I can just come by and pick up on the Thursday morning, which is the trash day in our neighborhood. But I encourage you to think about that over this holiday seasons. Collect those for us. You can bring those to the church if the church is not open, if there's not a volunteer here doing some work, if there's not a member of our staff, the church staff working in the office to let you in, just leave them by the side door, and a church volunteer or a member of the staff will bring those in, and then I will periodically collect those, and we will get those to the recycling center. We collect approximately $800, $900 through that process, surprisingly, every year, sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but we have for the last several years been able to support, as I said, 2 small children. And some in good years, this looks like it might be a good year, we already have collected over $868 in our account through our recycling efforts. We will be able to support our children. And we also donate to a project that Dr. Rich Godfrey a few weeks ago talked about. There's also a project supported by this church and the Ministry of Social Concerns, and that is the St. James School for Girls in Kenya. We have made donations out of our recycling fund to that program. So I encourage you, please, to contact me if you need, or bring in your cans and bottles, plastic bottles. Right now, wine bottles, for example, are not being accepted, but the California legislature has passed a bill and the governor has signed it that effective on July 1st, wine bottles will now be acceptable for cash recycling in California. So at that time, you can bring me wine bottles. But until then, beer, glass, so forth. Thank you for your support. In the words, and I'll paraphrase our late President John F. Kennedy, God's work on earth must truly be our own. And I ask you for your support. Thank you.